Hello everyone, I'm Alex from Ballade Sports, and I wanted to share with you a new Honda S2000 clutch that we have been working on for the past year now. This is a billet aluminum twin disc design using a sprung ceramic race disc. And I want to talk about how it differs from other brand twin discs and along with the stock S2000 clutch and what the benefits are and the positives and negatives about each item, okay? Why do we need a twin disc clutch of this caliber? Well, usually it's to increase, when we increase horsepower, usually on boosted scenarios, big motors, supercharge, turbocharge. The S2000, the stock clutch right here, it has only so much clamping force. The clamping force on a stock pressure plate is about 1,800 foot-pounds. And then the Honda disc, this material and the friction plate right here can only handle so much torque before it starts to slip and it doesn't grab anymore. Now, with that being said, this is good for, I think, anywhere up to 250 horsepower and about 160 foot-pounds of torque on the S2000. I've never seen one of these slip past that. When you get to about 200 foot-pounds of torque on the motor, that's when this is no good. It's gonna slip. So supercharged cars usually get about 250 foot-pounds of torque, and turbo cars are much more. Turbo cars are about 300 foot-pounds of torque, and these things don't grab. It won't hold. Now, that's why people go with stronger clutches. They have other clutches from different brands for different puck materials and so on and so forth. And people always believe that the heavier the clutch pedal, the stronger it is. It's not necessarily true. And when there's a heavy pedal pressure, I actually don't particularly like that much because that pulls on the crankshaft a lot more. And that's where the crank bearings and the thrust washers take more of a beating, and the crank has premature wear, in my opinion. And then that's why really strong single disc clutch can deteriorate the life expectancy of the engine. And then also you get a lot of chatter, and the vehicle is not very smooth on first gear takeoffs. So that's where twin discs come into play. You have two discs on the inside of here, and the plates are smoothing out the transition of torque and power from the engine to the transmission. Now, with that being said, what makes this twin disc different from this twin disc? The difference is, the first difference will be the throwout bearing. For the S2000, if you notice the pressure plate right here, it's convex, versus the S2000 one are concave right here. So this is called a pull style, where this is called a push style. It pushes down, and these pull up on the throwout bearing. Okay. Now, for a lot of factories that make a twin disc for the S2000, they require you to have a throwout bearing conversion kit. There's a hydraulic throwout bearing that converts your stock throwout bearing to a push style clutch instead of a pull. This is a rather expensive add-on to have for a throwout bearing. And then when this throwout bearing goes bad, it's proprietary to the clutch manufacturer, usually. So then it sits like this in the clutch. And this would be the transmission side. And it pushes down so that way it can release and you can go into neutral. Now, what we've done here with our Ballade Sports billet aluminum twin disc clutch is we've incorporated the stock throwout bearing. The stock throwout bearing is important in my opinion because, one, it's less expensive than this, and two, it still keeps that dynamic of the stock throwout bearing and the stock fork. It sticks right here, pulls up, releases the plates. Okay, same thing with the factory. We wanted to keep things as close to factory as possible. Now, in addition to the differences between these types of clutches is when you buy a twin disc clutch kit, it comes together like this. You are now married to this flywheel, which is proprietary to this twin disc design. So I'll show you what this looks like when I open this up right here. This is, remember, the push style twin disc, and you have these floater plates, and you have a disc here and another floater plate and a disc here. And notice how there are no springs on these discs. And then this flywheel here, you cannot use for anything other than this type of clutch. So in a racing scenario, if you happen to have any sort of clutch failure, you are stuck with this type of setup. So what we did over here, let me move this out of the way. What we did over here with our Ballade Sports Billet or twin disc, we made it to where not only do you use the stock throwout bearing, and this is the Honda Nachi throwout bearing that we use because it's the best one. We have our twin disc plates that are joined together with the floater plate on the inside. This is bolted together, but you see how we have springs on the inside disc, okay? That's one big difference. This is the biggest difference of all. This is a stock style flywheel. This is not proprietary to this at all. You can use a stock flywheel with this twin disc or an upgraded lightweight flywheel. This flywheel goes with a stock clutch. It fits right on. So versatility wise, when you use a Ballade Sports twin disc, you're able to use the stock throwout bearing and the stock style flywheel, which makes it a lot easier for customers to not have to be married to the flywheel. So this setup uses sprung ceramic discs, twin discs. The clamping force we're at is about 2,100 foot-pounds versus the stock one is 1,800 foot-pounds. So we still keep a very factory style pedal pressure, but we're able to achieve up to 725 horsepower that this clutch will hold. And if I want to change out the flywheel, I can change out to a stock flywheel. I don't have to go and buy a proprietary flywheel. I can get one anywhere. I can get a throwout bearing anywhere, versus if these go bad, I have to get it from the original manufacturer. So what we are offering our customers now is the ability to just purchase this exact setup. This setup right here. The twin disc clutch, what you need, and you can provide your own stock throwout bearing and your own flywheel. And that's what we like about this. So, with all that being said, let's talk about the price. The price of this racing twin disc clutch setup, our Ballade Sports Billet twin disc, and the stock clutch. Let's start with the stock clutch. The stock clutch is actually extremely expensive for what it is, but it is a very good design. It just doesn't handle the amount of power that we want it to. The pressure plate alone retails at $625, and then $290 for the disc. The throwout bearing is about $263. And this whole setup right here for a stock clutch is gonna net you around $1,178, which is pretty expensive for what it is. But, you know, it is Honda, and we love Honda. Now, this clutch setup comes with this throwout bearing conversion, your flywheel, and your discs. And this retails at $1,950 for this whole setup. And this is your whole clutch kit right here. We are going to be retailing this clutch kit right here for $12.99.99. You will have to provide your own throwout bearing and your own flywheel. And that way we can offer a lesser expensive alternative to having a twin disc. So less expensive than this, a little more expensive than this, but you can handle up to 700 horsepower in your engine, and this will hold it. This is the engine block that we've been working on for a customer. It's fully sleeved. You can see the stock style flywheel. This is our Ballade Sports flywheel, and this works on any stock S2000 clutch or any S2000 standard S2000 clutch type. And then this is the twin disc, as we talked about before, and the stock throwout bearing. Everything matches up really nicely. So I'm gonna get this in the car and show you the results.